Hello, I've been abducted with 2 other girls.
He's not well.
And we know you pitched the idea over the dinner with your partner, and how did you get inspired in the first place?
It was a character that I wrote a long time ago. I wrote the character about 15 years ago, 16 years ago. It was a part of another script. And I've been thinking about why I haven't made it. I'm not sure if I had an answer to that other than it was very dark and very contained. But now I love those aspects of it. And it's weird, you know, it's a weird, funny movie, and I'm really enjoying that tone.
We know you are Skyping with the director to shape each personality. Which one is the most difficult one to?
I think it's a toss-up between Patricia, the sort of almost nun-like woman that I play, and the character that comes in towards the end. The sort of otherworldly type character comes in the end, because both those characters, it would be easy to kind of make them over the top, and they have to be at times over the top, but you've still got to ground them in something truthful, and finding out what that was truthful about them was the important thing.
My name's Hedwig.
How old are you?
9.
I had to create those things, so yeah, I would take notes and then revise them and then throw it out and go, that doesn't work, and come up with something new that you could wear or sound like. There were many different voices for Hedwig. I was very keen for Hedwig to be a young boy trying to look older than he was, because he was a boy who was in a state of arrested development. He'd been 9 years old for, I don't know, like 20 years, you know, and he wanted to dress older, and he also wanted to be urban and very street and taken seriously and influenced by, you know, that kind of hip-hop culture. And then her, it was, yeah, that was the hardest actually, kind of figuring out whether, because he kept trying to put me in clothes that made me look feminine, you know, but I was actually a lot bulkier than I am now, and was a lot musclier than I am now, and it was difficult to do that, and I was like, it doesn't really matter whether I look like a woman or not. We're not making the Danish Girl. We're not trying to make a film in which everybody thinks he's a woman. We're actually making a film in which this person who lives within a man's body fully knows that, appreciates that, and works with what she's got, which is a man's body, and isn't trying to, I don't know, isn't trying to hide that. Not trying to hide anything, not trying to change anything, actually just embracing what she's got.
I think I'll put a pretty flower in your hair.
You once said you don't like to go to the gym at all, but you need to buck up.
I've actually changed my tune. I do like going to the gym now. In fact, I kind of need it because it clears my head a lot, and it's like going to therapy or something like that for me.
And action.
And you say making this film is the most challenging in your career. Why?
You know, I'm making these movies a little smaller than I'm used to, and that creates a lot of pressure on the actual production. A good pressure, but it's still pressure. And the script is very ambitious. It's a big movie. It's a very big movie with big ideas and big scenes, and a lot of climaxes in the movie. And so every day the shoot felt like it was our climactic scene I was shooting, and every day I would come home exhausted going, gosh, I felt like the climax, and it was like, we give it tomorrow, oh my God, we're shooting that scene? That's impossible. And that's what I felt every day I would look at the thing, and I think that adds to the feeling of, like, you know, climax when you're watching the movie, that there's the big scene and he does this, or she escapes here, or there's this big therapy scene here, or he becomes that personality, or this dance here, and every scene was like this big moment. I was really pushed to the edge, and of course James was pushed to the edge as well.
Take 6, marking.
There were a bunch that were very difficult. There's 2 answers to that. Probably the 4 therapy scenes, I worked really hard to make sure that they were the spine of the movie and make sure they were like pitch perfect, those 4 therapy scenes. But probably the hardest scene was the scene where James turns into all the personalities. Which was extremely challenging scene, very emotional, very difficult, and he killed it, but we did have to shoot it multiple times.
Was that the scene he broke his hand?
Yes, that's the scene he broke his hand.
And how did that happen?
Well, the first time we shot it, it's so difficult for him to switch and do all the lines and do all the thing, and it's so emotional. And it was just extremely challenging thing. I don't know if I've ever written a more challenging scene for an actor ever. And he said it was his most challenging scene as an actor he's ever done. And he was having difficulty with it, and he got angry at himself, and he hit the door, which he thought was a prop door, but it was not a prop door. It was a medical door that we had brought. It was iron, and it was in the room, and he hit it, and he broke his hand.
Yeah, and then broke my hand like an absolute idiot. Wow.
Did you get very angry
because I broke my hand?
Yes.
No, I just accepted it after that. Because after you've broken your hand, the anger's over, isn't it? You just kind of suck it up and deal with the fact that you're a total tool. Yeah, it was one of those daft moments. But you're playing a character that's demanding so much of you that it takes you to extreme places, you know what I mean? So I didn't give myself too much of a hard time for it. Which is weird to say, I broke my bloody hand, but I didn't really give myself too much of a hard time.
But he kept acting.
Help me.
I love the cliff moment, which is like so chilling. When we did it in rehearsals and you changed that one time, I was like chilled.
I love James McAvoy. I'm also a huge McAvoy fan, and so I was thrilled to get to meet him, number one. And we did a rehearsal session for a week before the movie started filming, so we really broke the scenes down, and I, knew what we were going for. We also come from a theatrical background, the two of us, so there was a real grounded security in working with him. He's very warm, very kind, very generous, humble man. It was a joy.
He surprised me a few times, which was awesome. It's always nice when you can work with an actor that feels comfortable, enough with you that he can do that he can surprise you and whatever. I really enjoy it because I feel like if you know your character well, you react as them, if that makes sense, and you come up with something surprising that you maybe wouldn't have found before.
That's what happened. They were like,
We heard that you're quite a prankster on set.
I don't know about that. People say that about me a lot, and I'm like, really? Why? What did you hear? What did I do?
Yes.
Did he get you?
Oh, he got me. He got me several times. I think he got me. The first time was during the camera test. I was so serious and I was in character, and I was like, who is Casey gonna be? What is she gonna wear? What's it gonna be like? And then on camera, he just came up behind me and just squeezed me really tight. I was like, McAvoy, no, no, tamp that down.
Nah, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a prankster. I would just say that I'm fun. Or I said that like really serious. I'm just, you know what? I just don't. I save the serious stuff for the camera, and I like to fool around and have fun in between acting moments. I don't find that staying in character in between takes helps at all for me. It does for other people, and other people need that. That's great, but for me, it's about relaxation and being relaxed, and if I'm happy and having a really great time one moment, it doesn't stop me from bawling my eyes out and crying and being truly deeply upset the next moment, so yeah.
So you can just switch like that?
Yeah, a little bit.
He's done awful things to people, and he'll do awful things to you.